You ever just stop for a second and genuinely ask yourself, who am I? I mean, really, beyond your name, your job, all your relationships, who is the I that's at the very center of your universe? It's one of the oldest questions we've ever asked, and today, we're going to explore a path that doesn't just ponder that question, it uses it as a key.
But here's the thing. Before we can even get to that answer, we have to look at a related question. One that's maybe a little more urgent for most of us. Why do we suffer? You know that background hum of anxiety, the waves of sadness, that feeling that something's just missing? Well, it turns out figuring this out is the first step to understanding ourselves. So, what is the real source of all this suffering? I think the answer might just surprise you. Let's kick things off with a little story. Imagine this really wealthy man, super proud of all the properties he owns. One day, he goes to look for the documents, the deeds that prove he owns everything, and they're gone. Instantly, his world just collapses. He is completely plunged into despair, convinced he has lost absolutely everything. A little while later, he finds the papers, right where he'd left them. And just like that, boom, his joy comes rushing back. But hang on, think about this for a second. Nothing in the real world's actually changed. The properties were always his. The only thing that shifted was a single thought in his mind. And that little story, it just perfectly nails this core principle from the ancient philosophy of Vedanta. The idea is that the mind is the cause of both our bondage, our suffering, and our liberation. It's not the world out there that makes us suffer. It's our mind's interpretation of the world. So, okay, if the mind is the problem, what's the fix? Well, a 20th century sage offered let's just say, a surprisingly direct answer. His name was Ramana Maharshi, and he taught that instead of getting all tangled up in these super complex rituals or dense philosophies, you can just cut straight to the chase with one single persistent question. Who am I? Now, to really get how radical this is, think about this analogy. A lot of spiritual paths are like the ant's path, or Pipalika Marga. They're slow, they're gradual, step by step. Ramana's method, on the other hand, is the bird's path, Vihanga Marga. It's a direct flight to the destination. It uses that one powerful question to just soar above it all. So how does this actually work in practice? Well, it's basically a process of elimination. You're peeling back all the layers of who you think you are. Come on, let's give it a quick try. All right, first up, the most obvious one. This physical form, this body that you're in right now, am I this? Well, no, I mean, think about it. This body was born, it's changing constantly, and one day it's going to decay. You can observe it, right? You experience it. So that means it has to be something you have, not what you fundamentally are. Okay, let's take it another step. What about all our roles and our labels? Am I a writer, a parent, an artist? Am I my job, my bank account, my name? And again, the answer is nope. All of that stuff is temporary. It's an attachment. A job can vanish. Money comes and goes. These are all things we have, not the unshakable core of what we are. So if I'm not my body and I'm not my roles, what is this persistent feeling of me that gets defensive when someone questions you or feels kind of insecure and is always comparing itself to other people? Now we're getting to the real heart of the matter. This is what Vedanta calls ahaṁkāra. You can just think of it as the ego, or even more simply, the I thought. It's that nagging feeling of being a separate little self locked inside a body. And this teaching proposes something pretty radical, that this one single thought is the root cause of every single other anxious thought, every fear, and all of our suffering. So, and this is absolutely crucial, the point of this whole inquiry isn't to find a new, better label for yourself. It's about discovering what's left over when all the false labels just fall away. And what's left is described by this beautiful Sanskrit phrase, Sach Chidananda Swarupoham. Let's unpack that, because it's awesome. Sach means pure existence. Chit is pure consciousness, and Ananda, well, that's pure bliss. So what it's saying is that your true nature isn't a person at all. It is existence, consciousness, and bliss itself. Not something you have, but what you are. And this true self, it's the total opposite of that fragile little ego. It's described as eternal, totally unchanging. Think of it like the silent witness, the awareness that was there for your very first memory and is right here, right now, experiencing these words. It just watches the body, the thoughts, and the world come and go, but it remains completely untouched, beyond birth and death.
This brings us to the final, and honestly, the most mind-bending part of this whole thing. How on earth does simply asking, "Who am I?" actually solve anything?
Well, this powerful quote right here reveals the entire game plan. See, the Danta doesn't try to solve your problems. It's designed to destroy the problem maker.
Okay, so here's the magic of how it works. When a thought pops up, like, "I'm so anxious," you don't fight it. You don't argue with it. You just turn your attention inward and ask, "Wait a minute, who is this I that's feeling anxious?" It's like turning a flashlight away from a scary shadow on the wall and pointing it right back at the bulb. The question literally starves the thought of your attention. And without that attention, that little ego thought, it just dissolves. The whole practice was never about finding a new definition for yourself. It's about unbecoming everything you mistakenly thought you were, so you can finally realize what you have always and already been. So I'll leave you with the very question that started all this, and really the only one that truly matters. Who are you?